Hello, friends. Welcome to another episode of TV is Our Real Mom. I'm Dave,
I'm Catie.
and you're listening to our weekly Fargo podcast in which we share our thoughts on the latest episode of Fargo. And Wednesday night, we
Last
had,
night for me
oh, yeah, for you, it was last night.
was.
You're a catch up watcher
That's correct.
because you don't have cable,
I do not. I
which
purchased
is
a season.
like most people probably these days. But yeah, fill us in the comments if you know, is there a way you can watch Wednesday nights without cable? Like if you bought the season on one of these services, can you watch it that night? I'd be curious to know that.
There's some apps, like for instance, the CBS app. If you have it, if you subscribe to it, then you can watch live online. But I don't know if all channels apps have that feature.
Right. I'm more curious about if someone bought the full season of Fargo season 3 on some service, is there one that lets you watch it at the same time as everyone else when it airs?
That's a good question, and one I do not have the answer to.
Right. Maybe someone can help us out. Anyways, so do you have the title of this episode? I don't think
I did.
Something about the narrow escape.
Yeah, that's it. The
Is it
narrowest escape.
Is that all it is? The narrow escape or something?
No, I think it's the narrowest escape.
Oh, the narrowest escape. Oh.
But
Okay.
I'm not sure. I'll find it here.
So, yeah, I was reading an article about the episode that
That's dangerous.
yeah, it is. But it talked about,
let it sway how you feel about the episode.
I liked every episode this season, so I disagree with everyone.
Why? Does everyone else hate it?
Actually, no, you're right. EW is the only one hating on.
EW gave their first episode an A, and now all of a sudden they hate it. They're so contrarian.
Well, it's
Just
been
forget
like
them.
It was like B minus, C, B minus, or something like that since episode 1.
Completely disagree.
Yeah, I'm digging it. But anyways, it kind of shed some light on some of the meaning of that title based on how we get a lot of sort of one-on-one, like person in power is talking to someone not in power, like kind of squirmy, like scared,
squirrely,
nervous, I guess. Sure. There's a lot of that in this episode. And
that could have to do with Peter and the Wolf.
Oh, that too, yeah. So anyways, we'll talk about all that, but yeah, why don't we start with Peter and the Wolf? What do you think about this symbolism, this connection?
I thought it was awesome. Personally, Entertainment Weekly can suck a big one, but I enjoyed it. I mean, that's what I like about Fargo is it's not formulaic. It just finds new ways to tell a story that maybe otherwise would come across a little bit pedestrian, which I don't think this season is, but it because it's an artistic show, and that's one of the things I've always loved about it. I mean, the stories are mundane. That's kind of the point of them, is that these are kind of run-of-the-mill people, but they find such artistic ways to tell these stories, and this was a perfect example of that. And I loved that, like, the role that each Fargo character played in Peter and the Wolf, or vice versa. I thought it was all very fitting. It worked very well.
Right. I feel like it would be worth recapping, like, because I feel like we're going to be getting so much of these instruments representing these characters in the rest of the season. I feel like it's worth recapping.
You don't think it was just a one-time episode? I think it was just a one-time thing.
I think you're still going to, even if it's just like the season finale, you're still going to hear music. Like, okay. I think you're still going to hear the theme, sort of like some strings when Gloria's on, or like, I think you could get to that.
To me, it was sort of like, the episode in season 2 that depicts the massacre, or right before the massacre, I don't know, where they brought back Martin Freeman to narrate the tale of whatever, the Sioux Falls Massacre. So this was a similar, like, standalone. They brought Billy Bob Thornton back to put a Peter and the Wolf spin on this one episode in the story. But yeah, you're right. I could see them going back to like a little clarinet noise for.
Yeah, that's all. I don't think I don't think Billy Bob Thornton's going to be in the rest of the season. I just think you'll hear a clarinet play when Nikki Swango is going.
Maybe.
Like I said, it might be worth a quick recap. I'm going to go down the list.
Okay.
That I have, and you got to help me fill in the blanks because I don't think I have a solid list. But
okay.
Emmett is the bird and the flute, right?
That's right. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Then we got Ray is the duck, which is the oboe. Mickey is the cat and the clarinet.
Mm-hmm.
Cy is the grandfather. Is that right?
Yes.
And what instrument was that? I don't know if I
the bassoon.
The bassoon,
which rhymes with buffoon.
Very nice. Varga is the wolf, represented by French horns. And this one I'm not sure about. The Eastern European guy is represented by shotguns. What does that mean?
He is the sounds of the hunters and their shotguns in the story of Peter and the Wolf, which are represented by the kettle drum.
Right. So who's the Eastern European guy in Fargo? Who are we talking about here?
The Russian guy, the goon, one of the goons.
Goon. Okay, thank you. Yeah, all right.
The goons with the gunshots are the kettle drums.
Right, and then Gloria is Peter, represented by strings, right?
Yes.
Okay, so
got it.
Done. Lock
Nailed
it
in. Nailed it.
Are you familiar with the story of Peter and the Wolf?
I'm familiar with the song, and to be honest with you, that song has always, like, for some reason, creeped me the hell out. That dun 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 dun, dun you know, the Peter and the Wolf part. That's creepy. It scares me, and I don't know why.
I like that song. I think it's cool.
I mean, it's like creepy in a good way, but it's still creepy.
Yeah, it might be a little creepy.
I can't put my finger on why it's creepy, but I've always been creeped out by it. But you know, all I know is that Peter's grandfather tells him not to go out into the meadow because the wolf might get him. And I just draw the parallel in Gloria's going after just someone who murdered her grandfather, unaware of what she might rain down upon her in VM Varga.
Right. So do you think if you knew the story of Peter and the Wolf, that there would be a lot of connections between, like, literally between this character is this person, and like, so they're going to have a similar story arc that they would have in Peter and the Wolf? Or
I think it's one way. You know how when we used to watch Lost and we would watch week to week and you would see what book they were reading and you would get super invested and, like, you'd read it or you'd research it and you'd be like, what the hell does that mean? I feel like it's a similar thing. Like, you could go down the rabbit hole and read all about Peter and the Wolf or watch it or listen to it. Is it a movie? Is it a symphony? I don't know what it is.
It's like a story told with an orchestra. So they narrate the story and they use, just like they did in the episode. That's exactly what it is with the orchestra.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So I think that, you know, you could go as deep into it as you want, but I don't think it's necessarily going to illuminate how this story is going to play out.
Right. All I know, I read a quick synopsis of the story.
Sure.
And I know that the only character that gets eaten by the wolf is the duck.
But it lives on in his belly.
Which is Ray. Yeah, because in its
still
belly.
Hear it quacking.
Yeah, and that's the only character that gets eaten. Ultimately, Peter, like, ropes up the wolf by his tail or something.
So you think Ray's gonna die? Is that what you're telling me?
Well, that's what I'm wondering. And also, an interesting thing is Peter uses the bird to distract the wolf, and that's how he's able to rope him up. So if the bird is Emmett, is Gloria going to use Emmett to distract Varga somehow? But Ray will be a casualty.
That's going way down the line. She's just now at the end of this episode made aware of the existence of Emmett Stussy and his connection to this case somehow.
Right. Yeah.
So she doesn't even know who Varga is at this point. So that's projecting quite a bit. But obviously, Gloria and Varga are going to meet at some point, and stuff will happen, and that's very possible.
Yeah, and that's all I'm saying is like might be cool if it ends up being like almost like a literal translation to the story, but at the same time I don't see them being that on the nose about it. So
No.
it's just
There's
interesting to think about.
I thought it was also interesting that Varga is the wolf who is like just supposedly wants to eat everybody, which
Mm-hmm.
he does, but then he's gonna barf him up because
Yeah.
apparently, which was disgusting.
Yeah, definitely.
Um,
Yeah.
but what a weird confliction. Is that a word? Affliction.
Yeah, there's
Affliction that VM Varga has that I didn't see coming. And what
yeah,
does it mean something? I don't
I
know.
don't know. There's probably symbolism there that you just kind of touched on. It's a little lost on me, but sort of that he's ravenous and he eats everyone like the wolf, but yet he just barfs it all up. So maybe there's something there.
Like he
Um,
doesn't want to be just a little rich. He wants to be, or this is at least what he's telling Emmett. Like you don't want to just be a little rich. You want to be really, 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 really rich.
yeah, but his motives for doing so are kind of interesting, which we can get into. But real quick, an interesting line at the end of Peter and the Wolf is I think the grandfather says this. He says, "What if Peter hadn't caught the wolf? What then?" So I sort of wonder if they're not going to be on the nose about the connection, like character to character, if that line sort of has some sort of significance, like how is the story different when Peter doesn't catch the wolf? I don't know. Just a
We'll
thought I
find out.
had. So yeah, we talked about Varga is bulimic.
Yeah, sheesh. Like he doesn't even have any bones about barfing in other people's nice bathrooms that he's never even been in before.
Yeah, he and it's after that session in Emmett's bathroom that they have their talk about yeah, wealth and what you can do with wealth. Basically, Emmett or Vargas says the point of being extremely rich is so that basically you can hide when
Shit goes down.
when the shit goes down, which
Yeah.
in his eyes it sounds like they're making they're referring to like immigration, aren't they? Doesn't I thought I got a vibe like they're talking about immigration or something.
I didn't get that vibe.
Well, I could have sworn he literally talks about like Mexicans and like I think he literally says that. Like
I have no idea because, to be honest, I found that part kind of boring, and maybe I
oh.
wasn't paying attention super well during that part. Sorry. I probably shouldn't have a podcast about shows if I'm not going to pay attention to them. However, that was the part of the episode that was a little misty for me. Like, what does
What's
he
he talking?
want?
Well, to me, it sounds like he thinks not just immigrants, but like, and I'll have to go back and watch. I'm not saying I think like immigration is bad or something. I'm saying this is what I think Varga was talking about. Not just immigrants, but like poverty, or people in poverty and stuff. The people who aren't rich, who don't have a lot of money. Eventually, all these people are going to get together, and they're coming for the rich people. Like they're not going to let the law or anything stop them. And so ultimately, Varga wants to be so wealthy that he can hide from all of this. He can have planes with bombs, as he says, and like fallout shelters, and for when the shit goes down, as you said. You know what I mean? To him, that's the point of being wealthy, to be so wealthy, and
But
also hide your wealth. Be smart enough to hide your wealth so you don't have to deal with these people.
I got that.
Okay.
That a truly wealthy person doesn't flaunt their wealth because they don't need to. But to me, how do you know shit will go down in your lifetime so much that you need to have planes with bombs on them? Like, you could be out there in freaking Tahiti on a private island, like eating like a king and barfing wherever you want, and everything's fine. Like, what does it matter if you're that rich?
I mean, yeah, maybe it's just a security blanket thing. He's like, better safe than sorry. Might as well.
I'm curious to know like this guy's background, but I'm also like scared to, because he's a vile fellow, and not sure I want to know how he became so vile. I like how he puts the rag down to kneel when he's gonna barf. That reminded me of what's his name from Breaking Bad? You know, the really bad guy.
The Gustav
Gus.
Gus, yeah.
Like how methodical he was with his craziness. And clean and organized and prim. But then what he's doing is so not. Like he cuts the guy's spoiler alert, he cuts the guy's throat with a box cutter, and then he changes, he puts on his jacket, and everything's all prim and proper again. So I mean, this guy reminds me a little of Gus from Breaking Bad.
Yeah, I can see
grosser.
That's a decent comparison. Fargo is much grosser, yes.
But I mean, at least his habit is gross, or what? It's an affliction. I know it is. It's not just a habit, but at least he tries to be as not gross about it as he can. Like he, cleans himself and sprays the stuff, and that's probably why his teeth are so bad, right?
Well, yeah, I think that's kind of what they're going for.
Anywho, it makes me, that little character beat about him makes me more curious about him, but also in a terrified sort of way.
Yeah. Okay. Let's talk about at the end of the episode. How does Gloria sort of connect the dots here, like through Winnie Lopez? Like, can you talk us through how she kind of comes to the realization of like what's going on?
Yeah, I was going to ask you that same thing. Like, we obviously know the connection because we've been watching everything. But would a normal, and she's a cop, so she's obviously more observant and maybe intuitive than the average person. But would that person draw that conclusion? Like when you hear of Emmett Stussey's connection to Ray Stussey and Ray Stussey's connection to Maurice, do you put the dots together and think, okay, he meant to send this guy to his brother's house, but the guy was a waste and he went to somewhere else instead? Because Eden Prairie and Eden Valley sound very similar.
Right.
Would a normal person make that conclusion?
Maybe. I feel like the shot was definitely trying to tell us that, like, the look on her face is that, like, she just kind of figured it out when she heard Eden Valley, like you said, Eden Valley, Eden Prairie, and the Stusseys and all this stuff. I feel like we're supposed to think that she gets it now, right?
Yeah, I think so. I'm just wondering, is that
really
a conclusion a lot of people would come to?
I don't know, maybe not, but to me it seems like Winnie Lopez is the one who like really got to kind of figured all this out the fastest. She kind of came to Gloria with all this information, and she had sort of done the detective work and put the pieces together and connected the dots, and that's sort of much more reminiscent of the cops from the last 2 seasons.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Like that's the sort of thing they would do. Whereas Gloria's been sort of like going off to LA and investigating the wrong, like going down a rabbit hole,
Right.
And
she needs Winnie Lopez to set her on the right path.
Yeah, Gloria is just a different style of female cop than we've gotten from the other ones in the last seasons. She's
a more introspective, more inward looking person, maybe.
Yeah, and it's interesting with all these effects that were shown in the episodes of like how she doesn't have much of an impact on the world around her. Like you question her existence even, you
don't think she exists?
I don't think they're going there, but it's like sort of like that, where it's like she just doesn't have any impact, and she literally can't interface with technology at all.
Right.
So
we saw more evidence of that this week.
Yeah, we got more of that when she meets Winnie Lopez in the bathroom, and she's like trying to use the sink and the soap dispenser and the hand dryer, and none of those things work for her. And immediately Winnie Lopez uses it, and all that stuff works. So That's
You
very
know,
strange.
maybe it's a metaphor. Maybe it's a metaphor. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
work with me on this one.
Hear
And
me out.
that, and that, uh, you know how sometimes you go through life and it seems like some people things just work out for, like it just goes their way, whereas other people it's like, you know, just nothing lines up for them. So maybe it's that kind of a metaphor.
I I like that. I like that a lot. It
Mhm.
doesn't work.
See, I relate to Gloria because I
Yeah.
encounter things that don't work on a daily basis, and I complain about it a little bit more than she does. But yeah,
No,
I
I
like
think
Gloria a lot.
not most, I shouldn't say that, but like I think a lot of people can relate to that where they feel like their lives don't work for them, or like I tried and it doesn't work. And
Hmm.
yeah, maybe there's some symbolism there with Gloria. I don't know if
Maybe
we have.
that aligns with the theme of the season too, and that technology around us is supposedly making life so much easier for everybody. But there's some people who just because everyday things are easier doesn't mean life is easier.
Right, and that would make a lot of sense why they're harping on Facebook so much too, like because I
Say
mean
Facebook
face
one more time.
yeah, I mean Facebook has appeared a couple times in this episode, I'm pretty sure. So it's like seems to be a thing. I know at least one way was I could clearly see Varga one of the ways he was investigating Emmett and Ray's relationship was
Oh
on
yeah, that
Facebook.
was terrifying, by the
Yeah.
way. When he suddenly revealed, he asked where the stamp was, like that was legitimately terrifying when he
Right.
found that out, or when Emmett kind of
Oh yeah,
realized
like
this
when he
guy
kind
knows
of
a lot more than I thought he did.
yeah, I mean, he knows about it as soon as he walks over to that picture and he's sort of like if he's reaching for that picture, he knows about the stamp, right?
Yeah,
I mean, it was scary. It was a scary moment.
that was really scary. And I'm
um
starting to feel like, because don't you feel like by the end of Emmett and Varga's conversation that he had kind of won Emmett over?
yeah, no, it sure seemed that way. And I know you messaged me after you finished the episode and you said, "Is Emmett an idiot or something like that?" Or
He kind
like
of seems like
you're like
he's the
legit.
bird. Is he bird brained? Is he the dumb one?
I don't know. Perhaps. That's a good question. I'm I wanted to ask you about, so you caught the part about the brother feuds, right? How like Varga's interested, it seems like he's interested in historical brother feuds, like the biblical
Sure.
ones with Cain and Abel and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So my question was he, when he said I did some research on brother feuds from history, um, was this something he started reading about after he realized Emmett and Ray had a brother feud? Or did he already have an interest in brother feuds, like a way he could manipulate people involved in such feuds? And did he find Emmett and Ray as targets? Is that a relationship he targeted because of what he knows about brother feuds, or is it more just you know, is it the other way around? Sorry.
I don't
Does that
have
make
the
sense?
answer that you seek.
Yeah.
However, I believe that Varga is the type of character who is just up on his biblical knowledge and can just pull it out of thin air and be like, in the Bible, there's a lot of brother feuds in the Old Testament, then, but all of a sudden they just stop. Because isn't that what he was saying? Like, there's no,
Basically.
that the brother feuds just kind of stop.
Yeah, and
He misses that.
he's like, why is that though?
Yeah.
I think he's saying like I think he also said that the brother feuds never actually stopped. Like they're just like underreported or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
I could have misheard that. I really need to watch that part again because I'm curious, like,
Really, I do too.
in what order did he do his research, like about brother feuds, and how did he find Emmett and Ray? Was it did he target them specifically because he found
I
out?
wouldn't be surprised if he found out their story because I feel like their story, though we haven't heard much specifically about it yet,
Mm-hmm.
is pivotal to not only the episodes going forward, but like the central message of the season. Like I
Mm-hmm.
was reading uh Noah Hawley, who's the creator of the show, he said his ideas come to him when he naps or something like that. And he said it was a simple idea. He said a father passes away he gives one son a sports car and one son a stamp collection. And that was literally the genesis, no pun
Of the whole
intended,
season.
of the whole season.
That's awesome. And like it's an interesting thing to think about, because like as a kid or as a young man or whatever, you would clearly like want the sports car because you'd be naive to the value of the stamp collection. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Is there anything more symbolic of like, awesome brother versus nerdy brother, like sports car versus stamp collection?
Yeah, exactly. But it's sort of one of those things where like it pays off to have the stamp collection. Like look who won that, like look who came out on top. So
And
it's interesting.
Yeah, the whole birthright thing, like I think of the Jacob and Esau story. Do you remember that story? Do you remember the Bible?
Well, is Jacob and Esau the same one that's sort of depicted really hilariously in Year One?
I've never seen that movie.
Well,
So.
it's like Paul Rudd and David Cross, like two of the funniest guys on the planet, and I think it's Jacob and Esau. So I think one of them murders the other one, and he tries to lie to his father.
Cain and Abel.
Oh, thank you. Sorry. See,
That's
I don't know my Bible shit at all.
Okay, Cain and Abel were Adam and Eve's sons.
Oh,
one murders the other. Cain murders Abel, I believe.
Yeah, that's the one in Year One. I'm sorry. What's Jacob and Esau?
Jacob and Esau is the one where their dad is blind. Their dad is some famous Bible dude. I'm sorry, it could be David or Joseph, one of those names that gets used a lot in the Bible.
Yeah.
And the younger son tries to trick his father into giving him the birthright, which belongs to the older son, by like covering himself in hair because the older brother is hairy.
Oh yeah, no, I think that might be right. And if that is right, I mean that's a nice little connection to Emmett and Ray. You know?
Yeah, but I don't really know the story well enough. I just thought it was funny that he mentioned those two, but he was talking about brother feuds, and so obviously those are the big ones. But I do think this whole, the origin of their feud will come up at some point, and the fact that Fargo knows about it is scary.
Yes, indeed. I really want to go back and watch that scene. Will I remember to do so? Probably not, but I do want to watch it.
Okay.
What else?
Do I talk about Cy? The hell's going on with Cy?
Cy.
That guy, when he was standing in front of the the Hummer, just pointing at Ray. What was he doing? Just pointing at him.
That was awesome.
Oh, that was my favorite part in the whole episode.
Amazing performance by that guy.
Whatever his name is, Michael something.
David.
Oh, David. I don't know.
David Bloomberg. No,
that's
David.
Somebody else.
I can't.
No. It's something. He's just Cy.
David Lundenhall or something. Lundahall?
No, I don't think that's his name or remotely close to his name. But
see.
Anyway.
You'll see. It's close. David Lundahall.
I think it's Michael something. But Anyway. Beside the point, why was he so flipped out up in the office when Winnie Lopez came to talk to him? Because the goons saw that there were cops on the premises?
Yeah, I'm confused by that. My initial thought was that he was nervous about the hit and run he had performed because he was guilty of doing it himself, and I felt like on the surface, at the very least, he knows he broke the law. He's guilty, and he's trying to avoid even dealing with it. He doesn't even want to talk to her. He's just trying to shoo her away. He handles it very poorly. It's hilarious.
Yeah, but to me, like, he was nervous because the goons were watching him while he was talking to a cop.
Yeah, I think thinking back on it, he's more nervous about he's thinking about the guy Irv who got like thrown off the garage or the parking garage. So he's thinking about, okay, I'm pretty sure those guys did that. Now I'm talking to a cop. What does that mean for her, and what does that mean for me?
Yeah, I was worried about Winnie Lopez. I thought she was gonna get it.
I absolutely thought she was dead in this episode.
Yeah, me too. I didn't know she was gonna. Apparently, she's gonna be a major character, but I thought she was just gonna be a one episode person and die.
Still think she's gonna get killed in the next episode.
I don't know. I think she's a major character.
In the preview, I mean, you have Sai going like freaking out.
I don't see previews. You know, I buy a season and they don't give me previews. What the hell's that about?
That's some bullshit.
Ugh. Anyhow.
But yeah, like Sai in the preview, Sai's freaking out on like a staircase. He's like, "This is so much worse than we thought," or something. And it's like, I feel like that's a good sign that maybe she gets whacked. I don't know.
Well, she's safe at Gloria's house now. She makes it to Gloria's house by the end of the episode.
What's she gonna stay there forever?
Well, wouldn't you? It's cozy and beautiful. I love her house.
Peter's house?
Yeah. Yeah. I was like, wait, her kid's name is Peter? No, I get it.
I get it now. No, I mean, yeah, it's like a cozy little house. Reminds
nothing me of like big. A lake cabin that,
Yeah, it's just, loaded with crap,
Sure.
But, I hear that women like that. They like to fill space with decorations and things. Like men's apartments might be a lot of open space because they, I don't know why, but apparently there's something to that. Like women like to decorate because they like to fill the open space. That's I thought of that when I saw our apartment because there's just like every corner's covered with something and cozy. True. I guess you would call it cozy.
It's cozy. It's a cozy little house, but I wonder if she and Winnie are going to become like, on Gloria's part, like reluctant partners. But
I could kind of want to
see more of her deputy. I think her deputy's super funny. I want him to come back too.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of like the Winnie Lopez character. I'd be okay with having some more of her, but I could really see her just getting whacked in the next episode.
There's a good chance.
Yeah. Yeah, nothing else to say on that.
About Winnie Lopez?
About Winnie Lopez, other than how funny she was in the bathroom. Like, that was pretty good.
Oh, man, if someone would have started talking to me like that in the bathroom, I would have just left.
Yeah, I would have, but yeah, you would have done it awkwardly, like...
I would have done it silently. She'd just be talking to herself.
No, you would have done that awkward laugh and like you sort of like back out of the room. You're like, yeah.
Well, and then just leave.
Well, I gotta go. Yeah.
No, you don't even say that. You're just like,
I gotta go. I gotta go. Gotta get going.
Cool.
What else you got on the episode? On this episode.
On the episode. The chief is kind of a dick.
Yeah, that guy is a total dick.
Yeah, I love she did this last time. She was like chastised by him. Like she just kind of sits there and takes it, and it's like she reaches a point where she's like, "Oh, okay, I'm gonna go do what I want." I think it's really funny.
No, yeah, I really like the way she handles him. It's really funny, but that's another way that Gloria doesn't really exist. She's like, she's the chief, but she's not the chief.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's that all about?
I don't know. Something to
Maybe
it, though.
When they're saying, what if Peter didn't catch the wolf? What if Peter didn't exist? Then he didn't catch the wolf.
Exactly. If Peter wasn't even around, the wolf can run rampant.
But why are they giving us a character to like if that character is just not really there?
No, I don't think she literally doesn't exist. It's more symbolic, like we talked about earlier, I think. I don't know.
Maybe it's like, I'm just going to keep going on these random philosophies about what it means. But like, if you don't have an online, presence, do you exist? If you're not like in America in the 2010s, if you're not into the world of the internet, do you even matter?
Holy shit, Catie. I think you might be onto something with that one.
It's a fair question.
Yeah, well, I feel like that could be a big part of the symbolism of the season with all the technology stuff and the Facebook talk and all that. That might be a big message they try to send is, yeah, if you're not involved in this world, do you exist? Like you got to move with the future or it's going to leave you behind, Yeah,
it's like when, Facebook started becoming a thing, and I would say, if you don't, post this on Instagram or Facebook, did it really happen?
Right. If you didn't post your meal on Facebook, did you
Did you
eat?
eat it?
It's also interesting to note that, I mean, this takes place in 2010, which is 7 years ago now. And Facebook was like, I don't know at the height of its popularity, but definitely just about at the height of its popularity around that time. At least it was ramping up, you know?
That was around the time the Facebook movie came out. So it
Right.
must have been.
The Social Network. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, what's interesting now is I work with a younger guy. He's like a high school kid, and
Mhm.
he says like no high school kids use Facebook now. It's the only apps they use are like basically Instagram and Snapchat, and those are the big ones that we know about. They're also using like these little ones that the kids know about, but we don't know about.
Like Kick that invites predators to abduct young children.
That's odd. Okay, yeah, that one too.
Read
Um,
about it. Look it up
point
on the Google, except maybe you
except
shouldn't because VM Fargo will kill you.
yes. Point being though that Facebook is on its way out as far as being like the hot platform. You know, it's Snapchat
Yeah.
and Instagram now. It's more because Facebook is, well, I don't know. They're doing a pretty good job of reorienting how their posts are, done more with images and stuff like that,
Mm-hmm.
and images, video, live streaming, because that's ultimately what the appeal of Snapchat and Instagram was more concentrated information in photos and stuff like
Mm-hmm.
that.
True.
Um,
If there's
but
not
yeah,
a photo in a post, I don't want to see it or read it or hear it.
yeah, you really need to add context to your posts with a photo, or yeah, it's gonna get ignored, and that's just
I'm
sad.
kidding, but yeah, it's the
It's
way
sad.
people nowadays think.
No, yeah, it is. So yeah, I think it all ties together. I really like what you're saying there. Did you have more you wanted to add? I kind of
No.
went off on a.
No.
All right. Any other thoughts on this episode? I don't know. I can look at my notes.
Oh, well, we forgot that Ray dressed up as Emmett
Oh
and
yeah, we
went
gotta
in
talk
to
about it.
get what he thought was the stamp and was just the dog's ashes. Um and we didn't see much of Swango, she was there. Ray didn't show up for the meeting with the sponsor because he got his ass fired because he refused to end things with Nikki. So
Right.
he did something good for his relationship, but screwed it up too because he didn't show up for something that was super important to her.
Mm-hmm.
But what I like about Nikki is that we don't see that much of her the last couple episodes, but like she's a strategist. She's like a survivor player. Like she's thinking steps ahead, and I'm wondering what the sponsorship means. Like, where is she at in her plan as opposed to where Ray is at?
I have no idea.
Yeah, nobody does because they haven't shown enough of her yet. Like, I'm sure we'll get like a Nikki episode down the line, but right now she's just pissed because she's not going to get her Bridge sponsorship, which I didn't know there was such a thing, but hey.
But hey.
If you want to play Bridge, I suppose you got to get someone to fund you, to back you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she didn't seem too pleased with Emmett that he only grabbed
Ray.
10K. Sorry, Ray.
Yeah.
Same.
Oh yeah, he did get some money. That's right. Okay.
Yeah, he took 10K, but there was $1 million he could have drawn from.
Yeah, and he also got fired.
Also important to note that they did say that it was $1 million, right? That was there.
Yeah, so that probably was the money that they were gonna pay back Varga.
Bingo. So interesting to note that that little thing there.
Yeah, kind of a important plot point that we forgot to mention there, but yes, that did happen. I liked how they made him look like Emmett, but not. Even though it's the same guy playing him, they made him look like a cheap copy of Emmett.
Yeah, I mean, and you got to give credit to Ewan McGregor as well for an excellent performance.
Yeah. Well done.
Yeah, him and Sai, awesome.
Yeah. Sai's pretty baller. He's a wiener, but he's the funniest character by far.
For sure. All right. I think that's gonna do it for this recap. I guess we still got to do. What do we do on this one?
Our whack list.
Our whack list. I feel like I gotta say Winnie Lopez now.
Yeah,
I gotta
you're
switch.
replacing. Okay, well then I'll steal yours and go with Cy. Although I hope not, because he's really funny and I don't want him to go anywhere.
Yeah. Okay, that sounds good. All right, that'll do it for this episode of the Fargo podcast at TV is Our Real Mom. You can follow us on Twitter at TV is Our Real Mom, and be sure to like, comment, favorite, subscribe, all that good stuff. All right, you guys, thanks for listening. Have a good one.
Good night.